Hello everyone, my name is Mu79 and today I've got a really good race at Suzuka in Daily Race C. So in the Mazda Roadster here, or the Mazda MX-5, I'm starting last because I just kind of hopped into this race, no practice, just boom. So it is a grid start, which makes things quite interesting because normally with the rolling starts you are quite spread out, so this should be quite good for some close action here. So immediately going round the outside, really close to going off track, as Steve tries to make it work around the outside, but it just doesn't quite work. But he's going to get the inside and get past the Belgian quite easily. That's going to throw the Belgian offline, I think, and there's a bit of a domino effect as the Swiss driver goes off track. So we're going to try and get him down the inside into this next S. So a really forceful move, just kind of pushing him out of the way, but there's not much I can really do because if I kind of waited behind him I would have lost so much time. So right behind the ancient pleb here, so I've got to stick behind him, hope he uses some techniques that have stood the test of time to spin out and gain us an extra position. Really slow through the Degner that he was, so that's one thing I noticed. So going to the right hand side here, but then flicking back to the left, just giving him a little nudge. Quite lucky we didn't get an SR down there, so he goes for the move down the inside on the Belgian, but the Belgian's just going to get much better exit speed and he's just going to rocket past. So Starlit Mofo is definitely one to watch out for in this little battle. So the Indian is going to go to the left hand side, I think. So the ancient pleb is going to try and not pleb it by trying to go down the inside, and he does, and then we're going to just take the Belgian as well. So Steve just behind Key 25 there, so this is really good stuff. Up into P18, so bear in mind this was really stacked lobby. You had Super GT, Basic Ollie, Key 25, and I will be battling with Ollie for the most part of this video. It was a really great battle, really enjoyed it. So through 130R, kind of sticking behind for now, but Ollie has served a penalty, so you've got to try and be aware of that, as we're going to go around the outside of the ancient pleb. Really nice move, no contact as far as I'm aware. So up into P17, and most importantly we are now back on the back of this train, so we are going to have the slipstream now of Ollie, so we could tag along if you like in this group, as Steve is going to try and go around the outside of Key 25. It's just not going to work, but we do gain lots of time, but we just go wide and that's going to lose a lot of time as the ancient pleb just spins out. So he's obviously the ancient pleb. So anyway, coming through the first and second S, really crucial you get these corners right, as Ollie seems to be stuck behind the Frenchman, so we could try and capitalise on this as the Frenchman goes wide. So Ollie's just going to stick his nose on the right, but he's just going to back out. So meanwhile, while all of this is happening, I'm just closing up, and this is looking very good for me. So yeah, we're going to try and eventually snag both P16 and 15. So anyway, coming through the first active, really crucial you don't cut it, otherwise you will get a half-second penalty. And in these cars, a penalty just kills you, because it's not the slowing down that slows you down, it's the speeding back up. But because the acceleration in these cars are so slow, you just lose so much more time. It's the same with the Group 2 cars the other week. You know, a half-second penalty would lose you about 1.5 seconds, which is just absolutely mental to think about. So just about a quarter of a second behind Ollie, but he's going to go to the left hand side here and think about a move on the Frenchman. So going into braking on the tarmac, and he just goes for the move, and we're going to take the Frenchman as well. So up into P16, and again we're going to follow Ollie through this group, but at this point the Frenchman was so slow that he dropped off the train in front. So we've got to try and work together, if you like, to get back with that train and maybe gain some more places. So in the slipstream of Ollie, who obviously doesn't have the suck forces available to him, so through 130R, a bit of a lift, but in qualifying I think he can take that flat if you just nail the line. So into the final corner, clipping the apex, but Ollie goes wide, so you know we could capitalise on this. He gets a bit of oversteer, but the Frenchman is right behind us, so this is going to look pretty tasty. So we're going to go to the left hand side here, go to the outside as he is covering the inside, so there's not much I could really do. So this is really good stuff, this, as the Frenchman also wants a piece of the action. He's going to go just behind Ollie, so we could have made the move work around the outside, but again we've just got to be careful that we don't go to the back of him. So I'm going to try and take different lines to him, just so I don't, you know, take the same racing line and don't go into the back of him. So both of us are in the yellow Mazda here, so ironically I've just picked the same livery as him for this one. So through Dunlop curve, easily flattening these cars, not much issue there. So just under a quarter of a second to Ollie, so into Degner 1, just a hint of a lift, and into Degner 2, third gear, just trying to power out as early as possible. He does run wide onto the AstroTurf, but it doesn't lose you that much time in these cars. So into the hairpin, we're going to go to the right hand side and maybe try and get the cutback, but it's just not going to work because we go wide. But he does get a bit of oversteer, so maybe we could go to the left hand side and send it into Spoon. But here, what I'm going to try and do is actually quite clever, because I'm going to stick behind him. I'm going to go to the right, but I'm going to brake just a little bit early so he goes late on the brakes and runs wide. So then I could get the cutback and go for the move into the second part of Spoon. But the problem is, I went too deep, so he's just going to do the same on me and get the cutback. So side by side down the kind of back straight. Really close racing this, and since I'm on the outside there's not much point in fighting this, so I might as well just let him go. And I'm just going to lift off and drop back down into 16th. But at this point the group behind is long gone, so don't need to worry about them. But the group in front have just disappeared. You know, all this battling isn't doing us any good. So late on the brakes, just before the 100 board, just trying to go around the outside, but he places his car beautifully. I can't do anything there. So anyway, on to lap number 4, halfway through the race, or just under halfway through. Onto the main straight, we've got the slipstream just over 3.5 tenths the gap now, and she's dropping and dropping, so we've really got to try and get past, because I'm confident I can try and close up to the group in front if he just lets me go. But he's adamant to keep the place, even if I believe I'm quicker. So through the first S, got to clip that apex once more, and then through the second, and then through the third as well. Got to try and avoid going too fast so don't punt Ollie off. Although, contrary to popular belief, I do not want to do that. I just don't want to give myself a bad reputation if he does upload this race to his YouTube channel. So, if you're watching this, Ollie, thanks mate for the race. It was a really good one, really enjoyed it. Although, I will have to say, my heart was absolutely racing, especially towards the end, when I was racing Steve. So, through the first Degner, not the greatest exit, he does gain about a tenth on us there, so the gap's about half a second now, and into the hairpin once more, just not getting the best exit, too early on the power, and now I'm just getting a bit of oversteer, so we're going to have to lift off, and the gap is just chewing away, and there's 6 tenths now, so if I make one more slight error, it's basically game over. He's out of the slipstream. But thankfully we are not out of the slipstream, as the suck forces are quite strong on this game. So the slipstream, for anyone who's wondering, is about 6.5 to 7 tenths. That's kind of the maximum you could be behind without losing the slipstream. So anyway, 6.5 tenths to Ollie, but we do have the slipstream, so we are going to gain quite a lot of time down this back straight. So it's a 130R, or coming up to 130R. We are going to try and maintain as much speed, but he goes wide. So he loses about a tenth or so there, or half a tenth. And late on the brakes, we're going to gain massively. And now, the gap was half a second, but now it's just over 3/10 or so. Maybe even less than that. Yeah, it's just dropping and dropping. So we've gained massively in the final chicane. But he covers off the inside. So we're going to have to go to the outside once more. You know, he has covered the inside for basically the whole time. So there's not much I can do, really. So again, trying to hang it around the outside. He does leave us a space though, but really worried I was going to spin out there. As that corner is really 50-50, especially the outside curbs. Because if you get two wheels on the outside curb, you just spin. It's really simple. You do a full pirouette and then you lose about 20 seconds, yeah. So anyway, sticking behind Ollie for now, the gap's about half a second. But pretty much on every straight on this track, you will gain time in the slipstream. Because obviously the cars are quite slow. So coming up into the Degners, just under half a second the gap now, so you know, maybe, just maybe, we can do what many other people have failed to do and actually beat Ollie fair and square on paper. How does that work, fair and square on paper? I don't even know, I think I'm losing the plot. So anyway, really late onto the brakes into the hairpin. But he does get the better exit, so again the gap is just over 6/10. But once more we have the slipstream, so we are going to probably gain that back pretty quickly. But he goes defensive anyway, even though... Okay, never mind. Even though the gap is half a second, you've still got to be wary. In case you make a mistake like that, he goes wide, but really lucky I didn't spin out there, because I did go onto the curb. And that spoon, if you go outside onto the outside curb, it's an absolute killer. It's just a no-go really. So going onto the grass there, not the greatest line, I will have to say, but we are still in the slipstream, so we're just going to gain time for free. So into 130, is he going to run wide again? Yes he is, and we are going to gain even more time, and maybe into the braking zone we'll close up on him a bit more. But at this point we are starting to close up with the group ahead, so... And Steve actually gets a 1.5 second penalty, so me and Ollie should breeze past him here. So on to the main straight once more to begin lap number 6. Quite a long race actually, 20 minutes or so, but it's 20 minutes of good close racing. And at first I thought about this race, I thought it's not going to be a great one, but actually it breaks out such good racing because the Norwegian gets reset onto the track. He ran extremely wide, so that's his chances of a top 10 finish effectively over, as the group ahead is getting really squirmish and losing a lot of time. So maybe we could try and capitalise on this. So me and Ollie have actually done quite well to close up, and albeit they have been battling quite a lot in the last few laps, but the gap is about 5 seconds to them, I want to say, and we closed it up. So again, I think we did quite well there, as Ollie looks for a move on the inside into the first Degner, which doesn't quite work out, and then onto the brakes, and then shifted down into second. But I'm not sure if that's still the best gear to go into though, but I will do some laps and try and get in from that. And by the way, I will have a video which will go like in depth on the best car for each track and stuff, like on the best car with race pace and so on and so forth, so keep your eyes peeled for that. It will take a while to make though. So as of now we've only done Dragon Trail Seaside, so again progress is quite slow, but the pole is going to defend and we're going to snip it down the inside, and we're going to take Ollie and maybe even the pole, but just nudge him wide. But we do get quite a slow exit because we're stuck in third gear, as Steve is going to serve his penalty as well as another driver. So, got Max Power and Steve serving their penalties. We're going to fly past them both. But here, there's not much I could really do because into 130R, tried to lift off, but then just push him off track. And if you are watching this, mate, I am really sorry, and it was my fault. As Ollie goes round the outside, we've got to leave him space though. So keep him pinned to the outside, and really great move, I'll give him that. But we are going to get him back on the inside into lap number 7. So just keep him pinned to the inside. We can't really let him try and take that opportunity. So just going over to the left slightly, and then he sticks his nose in there, and I just kind of cut him off. That was a bit naughty of me, I will have to say. As Ollie and Steve go side by side, so sorry, Ollie and Max go side by side, and he gets the move done, so fair play to him. But through the S section, we are going to try and pull away here as much as we can, get a bit of breathing space. So through the first S and through the second, we've got to try and make this work, because I will be honest, when you've got a driver of Max's calibre behind you, it's really nerve-wracking trying to keep your composure. The gap is just under half a second to the behind, so we've really got to keep our head down and just push. So going wide in the first Dagner, not really what you want to see, but actually it doesn't even lose you that much time. Yeah, we did lose about 1/10.5 to 2/10, but considering the mistake you make, it's not actually that bad. So into the hairpin, running a bit deep. So Max is side by side with us, but he's just going to back out in the move, and hopefully Ollie and Max start to battle so we can get away. But Ollie just nips ahead, so we're going to have to try and cover the inside. But he still looks for the opportunity, but we're just going to cover it off, because honestly there's not much you can really do if someone's covering the inside on this track, especially in the MX-5s. But we get really good exits as those two are side by side, so that's giving us a lot of breathing space. So coming on to the final lap, Steve and Ollie are side by side, and Steve just nips ahead, but honestly it's really neck and toe between them two. So through 130R, almost flat, but I think if my tyres were fresh I could have definitely done it flat through there. So into the final chicane, pins the apex early on the power. So the gap is about a second or so now. It's just getting bigger and bigger because they are going side by side quite a bit. And if you want to watch Steve's POV as well, check out his live stream as well. It's a really good race. Again, thoroughly enjoyed it. And if you have made it to this far in, you are a legend, trust me. You're an absolute beast. So just remember that, please, because you really are an absolute legend if you've made it this far. And maybe also like and subscribe, because it really helps me out. Plus I am trying to get 100 subs by the end of the year, or before my birthday, which is 3 weeks today, I'm pretty sure, or 2 weeks, I'm not too sure. It's on the 7th of December, that's all you need to know. Anyway, the gap's about a second to Steve, so again, I think we've got quite a lot of breathing space, but again, our tyres are quite dead, so we're not going to have the same amount of grip. Pretty nice through the first exit, but then just going a bit wide there, so we're going to lose about a 1/10 or so. So the gap's about 7/10, but I completely hash up the hairpin here, so braking quite well, but again, he's just got a much better run, and he's going to get us back, and he's closed the gap from about 6/10 to 2/10. And by the way, I am not playing on a wheel, I am playing on a pad, so I'm just going to get a replay shot here of us and Steve, myself and Steve going side by side into Spoon. We do have the inside, but he's going to brake just a tad later, and we've got to leave him space, so again, we're not going to push him off, and he's going to get the move done around the outside. So good on him. Really nice move. I will give him that. Despite how much I wanna, you know, beat him, that was a really nice move. You know, clean around the outside, lots of space. Not much more you could ask for, really. So, anyway, coming into 130R, you know, going to the right-hand side, because we're going to try and get the cutback. He covers it off, though, but we're just going to lift off, and he cuts the inside of the corner, so he's going to pick up a half-second penalty, I'm fairly sure. We're going to go to the left-hand side, but then Ollie goes for a massive send, and he's going to get us both. But in fact, there's not much contact, and we're going to try and get him round the outside, but it's just not going to work. He's got the inside, but it's going to be P12, and it was a really fun race. So, again, thank you for watching. If you have made it this far, like and subscribe. Leave feedback under the pinned comment, but that's all from me. Take care, everyone, and goodbye.